A lot of people are talking about this bizarre interview with Chris Eubank Sr., and it really is bizarre, even by his standards. Now, I've been following Chris Eubank Sr. since the late 80s, early 90s, watched his whole career in the ring. I've seen countless interviews with him. And this is not the normal Chris Eubank Sr., folks. He is a showman. He is someone who likes to ham things up for the camera. He is someone who amplifies certain aspects of his personality for theatrical effect. But he's always someone that comes across as though he's in control, or at least mostly in control, as in of his thoughts, his emotions, etc. But in this interview, to me, this isn't a man in control. This is a man who's actually losing his grip. Eubank Sr. is someone who loves the limelight. He's someone who craves the attention of the public. And as a fighter ages, he's no longer in the ring. How does he go about getting that attention if it's this personality type? You know, not all fighters, most fighters are not as attention hungry as Chris Eubank Sr. But for somebody who is, how do they go about getting it? How do they go about staying in the limelight? And if they're no longer getting the kind of attention that they used to, or their cravings are no longer satisfied, what toll does that take on them psychologically? When you combine that with somebody who's taken a lot of punches, who's been in a lot of very tough battles over several decades, and also the recent death of a son, and you could throw in the fact that he seems to have a bit of a difficult relationship with one of his other sons. So when you combine all these things, the death of Sebastian, the issues he's having with Eubank Jr., his craving for attention, the punches to the head over the years, are we now seeing the culmination of that here in psychological issues? Is that what we're seeing in this interview? I personally strongly suspect so. Because again, I've seen countless Eubank Sr. interviews over the decades, and I've never seen him come across as bizarre as this. Yes, again, to reiterate, I know he's a showman. He likes to ham things up, but not to this extent. This is way out there. And again, when you normally watch Eubank Sr., I can tell that there's a bit of a twinkle in the eye when he says a lot of the things he says, that it is a performance, that he's trying to almost hold down a smirk whenever he does interviews. But in this interview, I didn't get that at all. He came across as if he was someone who actually believes the stuff that he's saying, all of it. And as I say, it was way, way, way out there. And I know he's trying to speak in metaphor and he likes quoting poets and, Kipling and all this kind of thing. But nah, man, this is someone, to my way of looking at it, who's struggling a lot here. A lot of people are putting it down to, again, the death of his son, Sebastian. But lots of people lose children and they don't end up behaving like this. Okay, so with Eubank, there's a certain set of circumstances that have led to him behaving like this. He's already an eccentric character to begin with. He's already eccentric. So when you add all the other factors in, along with the eccentric nature that he has, it just becomes bizarre. It goes into Twilight Zone territory. There was rumors a few weeks ago that he'd actually been sectioned, but it's often difficult to tell whether a rumor is true or not in boxing. There are so many rumors that go around. Some get confirmed as being true, others are disproved, and others just float around forever and you never know whether they're true or not. So yeah, there was this rumor that he'd been sectioned, but I didn't know whether to believe it or not. I needed more evidence. And in terms of how you sort the situation out, again, I'm sure his family are well aware of the issue here, and I'm sure they're doing all they can, or all they feel they can do. But when you're doing something like calling for a family member to be sectioned, that's a very, very difficult decision to make, because oftentimes the person who gets sectioned becomes very resentful of the family members. They feel betrayed, and that can cause more problems down the line. And everybody's fallible, everybody's human at the end of the day. You're not going to get it right all the time. So again, in terms of the solution here, I just think his family need to support him, stay close to him as much as they can. And as long as he's not harming himself or other people, then maybe they're just going to let him ride out the rough patch. And maybe part of that, again, I'm not saying that I know the perfect solution here, people, okay? I'm just thinking out loud. In terms of his recovery, in terms of his long-term well-being, if you suppress his natural desire to be a showman, to be out there getting the attention of the public. If you suppress all that, is that going to help him, or is that going to actually make him worse? Again, I'm not pretending to have all the answers, but this is me thinking out loud. You have to, I would imagine, factor in the personality of the individual and tailor the kind of treatment you give them based on that. And I do want your input here because I've never had a family member who's been through anything like this. So I don't have any firsthand experience dealing with a family member in this situation. I've known friends who have gone through these kind of problems, but I wasn't the one dealing with them on a day-to-day basis. They had their family members dealing with them, or taking care of them, should I say. So I especially want to hear from you guys who maybe have been through something like this yourselves, or those of you who have had, again, family members, people you're very close to, maybe people you live with or whatever, who've also been through something like this. Let me know how you dealt with it and what you think is the best way to deal with situations like this. Because again, it is very delicate and it's very difficult, particularly when you're dealing with a parent, right? Because the parent believes they have authority in their family in many cases. They believe that the children, even when their children are grown-ups, should listen to them and respect them and so on and so forth. And when your children are turning around and saying, no, you're not well, and we need to take you to this doctor, and do you know what I mean? The parent can, I imagine, feel patronized. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below about the whole sticky situation. Go and watch the interview. I thought it was a fascinating interview, a bizarre interview, and there were some funny moments in the interview for sure, particularly at the end, where Eubank Sr. said, well, he revealed that he was paid to do the interview. And he thanked the guy for giving him the money, and he said words to the effect of, people keep giving me cash. It's ridiculous, but it's lovely. I love that kind of ridiculous. I laughed out loud when he said that. Because normally in these situations, the interviewee won't reveal the fact that they were paid to do an interview. And the interviewer normally doesn't let his audience know. So, but in this instance, Eubank Sr. baits up the ting and explains to the audience that he was paid to do this. I found that funny. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high-quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and it's 100% censorship-free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.